Welcome to another episode of Airspeed Sessions, where we delve into the lives of everyday gigging musicians. I'm Rusty Schaefer, your host, and this podcast is sponsored by Airspeed Audio. Our goal here is to give you some insight as to what motivates these musicians to keep playing and to let you in on their journey and their music. You just heard a little clip from the band Garage Boys, and we want to welcome to the podcast Bryan Duffy, guitar player and lead singer. Hey, Bryan.
How
Cool,
you doing,
man.
Rusty?
Very cool. Very cool. I'm great. I'm great. So let's start with just some information for our audience. You are in Las Vegas. The band is based out of Las Vegas,
That's correct.
and you guys play mainly in Vegas. Do you travel, tour?
This would be the first year we've decided to not tour. With a few one-off exceptions, we decided to stay in Vegas this year because we've been bouncing back and forth between Northern Nevada, Lake Tahoe, Wyoming, South Dakota, Texas, Oklahoma, and then coming back here and going back out. And we all got really burnt out from it. So we decided to stay here in Vegas. So that's what we're doing right now
Very
for
cool. Very
2024.
cool.
Yeah,
I know you've done two albums. Um,
correct.
the first album was named Garage Boys. Second album
Yeah.
is Sergeant Pecker's. When was that released?
That was released in 2013. It's quite a while ago. And
Really?
yeah. And I recently did a year ago. I did my own solo release called the Red Brick Road, which I'm surprised to say I'm selling a lot of vinyl for that. So, but we are going in studio this August to the Hideout with a producer named Dale Penner, and we're going to record a pretty substantial recording this year. So I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. So I listened
Yeah.
to your guys' tunes. I acted surprised about the second album because it's kind of timeless music, right? It doesn't. I,
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought 10 years ago. I wouldn't have blinked it, last month. I mean, it just seems like it's timeless.
Great. We we realized we weren't on any label, so we figured let's just write songs based on music we like, and who cares if it's not that cohesive. So as you probably know, there's some Sublime-esque songs on it. There's some punky songs on it. There's some old classic rock songs on it. So that's the way we write. And this next one's going to be a little more cohesive because having a producer involved is probably going to make us sound uniform.
I thought both albums were cool. It reminds me, like you said, there's a lot in there, but I see a lot of influences like Black Crowes. I
Yep.
see Led Zeppelin,
Mhm.
Thin Lizzy, even Dropkick Murphys, if you've heard of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, you look, the recordings are fantastic. The
Cool.
quality is fantastic. It's very listenable. And you are the lead singer as well.
Correct. And our drummer is one of the lead singers as well. So he sings a couple of songs on each album of ours. But I'm primarily the lead singer on our original music.
Now, do you consider yourself more of a singer or a guitar player?
Uh, Probably guitar player. I fell into the lead singer role years ago because every band that I was ever in, especially in high school, they would just Duff, you're the mouthy one. You go up front. 'Cause everybody's too afraid to talk to an audience. So I'm like, all right. I really wasn't much of a singer as a kid. I just learned as I went along. But the
I will,
guitar was mainly my thing.
yeah, I will say I think you've got a unique voice. I think to
Cool, thanks.
me, when I listen to a lot of your stuff, even like going to Oklahoma, the track,
Mhm.
that's really different and really amazing. And again, the
Cool.
quality of the recording is really good. I hope our audience goes and checks you out, and we'll do all that at the end and where they can find you. But
Uh-huh.
but it's really cool music. It's like there's something in there for everyone. You know what I
Cool.
mean?
That was the point. I appreciate that. That was the point. Just you do all the styles we love. Let's put it all. Let's record it all.
Yeah, and but in your own music, of course. It's cool.
Correct,
So
correct.
let's go back to the beginning, man. So how old are you now?
Oh, I'm not sure. I, God, I just turned 50. So
All
I'm an
right,
old guy.
hey, you're still younger than me, so don't sweat it. All right, so let's start at the beginning. When did you learn? When did you pick up your first guitar?
When I was 9 years old, because we had in my home, we had a thing we called the piano draft. When you turned 10, you had to take piano, and I hated the piano as a kid. Love it now. I begged my mom to let me take guitar lessons instead. So that was the beginning of it. It was more out of desperation to not have to play piano.
And so you pick up the guitar. What do you remember what the guitar was?
It was just a beat up old classical guitar that my older brother had. I don't remember the name, the style of it, but he showed. I remember he showed me how to play "Rock Bottom" by Kiss, and that started everything.
And so, okay, so he shows you that you put your fingers on the guitar. Tell me what the feeling was right then and there, if you remember.
Uh, Difficult, as a 10-year-old, just trying to press your fingers on the strings is painful.
But it must have resonated with you.
Yeah, the second I got a couple of notes out, I was sold on the instrument. It was the coolest thing in the world,
Awesome.
And I never and obviously later, later on, years later, I'm still doing it. So obviously, it's a love that'll never go away.
Right. So when did you, so you start going at age 9, 10, you're doing your thing. When did you
Mhm.
pick up an electric guitar and an amp?
When I bought my first electric guitar when I was 13 years old, and it was a wow, I can't even remember the name of it. It was just, like it was just a starter beginner student electric guitar. Uh, and I bought myself a little MXR distortion pedal with it, and that was that was it. There was no going back to school or going back. Go.
It's amazing because the more people I talk to and I play as well, and it's one of those things where you get some gear and it's over, whether it's a
Yeah.
delay pedal, distortion pedal, or your amp, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I think I want that sound in my life for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's amazing. MXR distortion pedal.
Yes.
That's great. Okay,
Mhm.
so take me into high school. Are you starting to play in bands? What's happening?
Yeah, yeah. I formed my first band when I was 14 years old. We practiced all the time, and we actually got onto a we entered into a live local festival. So I'm Canadian. I'm from a town called North Bay, Ontario, and they were doing a summer festival of all these bands, and we entered into it. And I realized when I saw the crowd, I saw there was had to be 2,000 people out there. At our band, we chickened out. We loaded our gear back into our cars and ran home because we were all 14. We had no idea what we were. It took me another couple of years to get the guts to play live, and the first live performance I did was when I was about 16 years old. I started playing in the bars. I was too young to be allowed to stay in there, but you were allowed to get on stage and perform, and you had to go back up to the band room. So I started when I was 16 and kept going. Then no more chicken. No more chickening out.
And how or I should say when did at what age did you kind of feel like, you know what, I'm decent. I can do this. I don't have to, I'm not a rank beginner.
Well, I think you go through phases where the first time I thought I was really good, I went and saw one of the local heroes, Guitar Heroes bands, and then realized I didn't know anything. Took guitar lessons from him, and then did the same thing every time I thought, oh man, I'm rocking on this thing. I'm great. I made the mistake of going to see Stevie Ray Vaughan live when he was still as a kid, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know anything,
Yeah.
And you keep you keep hitting those zeniths where you think you've got it together and somebody humbles you. So you see a great and they humble you, and then you get back to the drawing board and get yourself better. You
Right.
realize now that's a really good thing. Now, at the time it's when you're young it's devastating, but when you're older you realize how good of a thing that is.
Seeing Stevie Ray Vaughan would do that to, I believe, anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
I'm grateful I got to see him.
After high school, what's happening?
I went straight. I left my hometown, moved straight down to Toronto, Ontario, and played in bands my whole life. It was different bands, original bands, cover bands, whatever I could do to try to make it. Got a few record deals, lost a few record deals, and then eventually moved to Las Vegas in 2007.
And then when and how soon after did the Garage Boys start?
Pretty much right away, because as soon as I got off the plane, I played for a band that needed a sub. That's why I came down. And an agency approached me and said, "We're putting this band together called the Garage Boys, and would you like to front it?" Once again, your mouthpiece. you you seem like a good fit to be a front man for it. So that's and it. So I got really lucky here because I kind of fell ass backwards into this local scene, and I've never stopped working.
That's amazing. That's really great. And so you've been with these guys for what is it, 7 years now? Or
Since
no,
'07, so we're approaching 17 years.
17 years. Yeah.
Yeah, same drummer, same bass player. We go through guitar players a little bit, but same drummer, same core, which is really unique for a local band.
It really is.
Hmm.
Although I've got to tell you again, I'm assuming I think I saw some of your videos too on your website. I mean, I know you play some covers, but
Hmm.
writing that original stuff and having it be as good as it is, I gotta think keeps you together.
It does. It really does. And they're a great bunch of guys. We've become like brothers. You love each other like brothers. You hate each other like brothers. But
Exactly.
it's been a brotherhood with the band, and it's something that stuck together for so long because we're kind of we're in a lot of ways we're sort of a group of misfits. We we can only survive this business doing certain things, doing playing certain ways, and we seem to all be on the same page with that. Like we can't just play a regular set. We're performing today at Carnival Court at Harrah's, and it'll never be the same as yesterday or tomorrow. We'll always just keep jamming and evolving and playing because we just can't stick to a script, which is a lot of the reasons why we've stayed together. We're three people who can't do that.
Introducing the Airspeed 2 by 12 PPD speaker cabinet. Designed and custom built in the USA with a focus on innovative design, expert craftsmanship, stunning elegance, and stellar audio quality. Our patent-pending performance projection design system lets you hear your speakers at their best. Angling the speaker baffle back 15 degrees, you now hear sound on axis instead of off axis. You can learn more about the product on our website at airspeedaudio.com.
All right, we're back with Brian. So, funny story here. We're in Vegas, right? We all are used to
Yes,
105 degrees, but guess what? Our iPhones aren't. So,
this is true. This is true. I thought it's cooled down a little bit.
yeah, it did.
I
No, it's
figured we'd be.
to me this is fun, but we're used to it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So let's go back. So I noticed in an interview you guys did, I can't remember when it was along a local Vegas station. You all have really different musical tastes, which I find
Yes,
really interesting for a band.
yes, that's correct. Um, our drummer is a massive Thin Lizzy fan, like the biggest Thin Lizzy fan ever. Our bass player, keyboard player Aaron, he's a Steely Dan guy, and I'm Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray kind of thing.
It's great.
And
See, I can hear all those influences in your music. It's
mm,
fantastic.
hmm
Um,
yeah.
Tell me about your gear. What's your main axe these days?
lately I've been using Gibson's 335. It's sort of the last 4 years that's turned into my workhorse guitar. Before that, I used a Paul Reed Smith, a custom 22, for about 20 years. That was my main guitar, but I've always wanted a 335, and that's been my workhorse. And my side guitar is a Duesenberg, a Duesenberg Fullerton. So they're all great axes.
So you don't mind lugging that on stage, that big Gibson?
No, no. Now other guitars feel like toys now. If I play a
Really?
Strat, I feel like I got a toy. So sort of, yeah.
What about your amp? What are we doing there?
I use I've used the same rig since I started. Actually, I play through a VHT Pitbull Ultra lead. It is a 1994, and I've used the same rig. When I have smaller gigs, I bring in my Kemper, which I'm not a digital guy. I love tube amps. Like when I went on your Airspeed YouTube channels, I'm like, yeah, that's a real rig. That sounds like a real rig too.
Yeah, it's interesting because I asked this question, which I'm going to ask you right now. When
Mm.
when did you discover tone? I mean, really?
Um, I think it's an ever evolving tone is an ever evolving struggle to always perfect your tone. I don't think you're ever truly happy with your tone. You keep trying to make it better as you age. Um, but I think the day I realized I had pretty good tone was probably about probably in the late '90s when I was on touring bands, because I would always have people approach me and say, "Damn man, nobody would ever say you're a good player, but they would always say you've got awesome tone." So I've always gotten that from people.
Yeah, finding it is nirvana. It really is. It's and a lot of
Absolutely.
I find that a lot of younger players don't don't get it. And maybe there's a reason we all have to, find it, when we're older. But what's really interesting to me is that when you think about the gear in the 60s and the 70s, and even the 80s to some
Mm,
degree, it was all pre-digital for the most part, right? I mean, it was
mm,
tube amps, it was going to see Stevie Ray Vaughan and the Who, and that was it, right? And then it seems to me like the more we have gotten into technology, we have gotten away from pure tone. Like, again, things like
mm.
Line 6, you do a lot of gymnastics with those amps and
Yeah,
that gear, but pure tone is, yeah, is kind of not there.
it's hard. It's hard to find a young dude that gets it, that
Yeah,
understands it, because they've grown up on floorboards.
right.
They've grown up on that stuff, and I will so often say, hey, you hear this guitar player on this album, or you hear this tone on this album. Yeah, this is what you try to need to steal. This pure, because the propensity is to overgain everything. Every a great amp doesn't need that much gain. It needs to drive. Those tubes need to drive and push air, and you've got everything you need. And a lot of players hide behind too much gain, too much effects,
Right.
and the digital technology makes it worse because
Yeah,
it's all.
I tend to agree, of course. So let's talk about, so you're gigging how many nights a week? You have a residency, right? A couple of residencies?
We have yes, we do. We have actually. We're every This month we're every Monday night on Fremont Street on Main Street Stage. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we're at Carnival Court at Harrah's from 1 to 5:30. Every Thursday night we're at Level Up at the MGM, and we generally play every weekend at Mandalay Bay at Rhythm and Riffs. So
Wow.
we're quite busy. And in the summertime, we'll be doing Saturdays on Fremont as well. So we can't tour this year.
Yeah. Yeah, you are booked. Well, that's a testament to how
Yeah,
good you guys are. I mean, they
Thank you.
wouldn't book you
Appreciate
if you
it.
sucked, right? Let's be honest.
I would hope not.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's figure out, let's tell people where they can find you guys besides live. It's the website is thegarageboysband.com, and we'll put that up on the
That's correct.
screen.
Yeah.
I'm
And
assuming you've got an Instagram as well.
yes. Yeah. Garage Boys. Are we Garage Boys Las Vegas on Instagram? You can find us. Our guitar player Lee is in charge of our Instagram, so he takes care of all that. We're Instagram, Facebook. We have a pretty big following on Facebook. The Facebook band page. Website is thegarageboysband.com, and you can find the music on Spotify, Apple, all the platforms. Is the music is available, and there's a new one coming out soon, so we're excited about that.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I recommend everybody, you need to listen to this band. Go to their website. There's stuff on your where it says the albums, first album, second album. Listen to those cuts. It's really good stuff, and it will dredge up memories and sound like a lot of different artists. It's really cool. I like what you're doing, man. Keep going.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we'll do what we can. Everybody go down and see Bryan and the Garage Boys. And your solo album's available on iTunes, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah. iTunes, all the platforms as well. And you can order it on the Garage Boys website as well. I put it up on the Garage Boys website. So you can see Bryan's solo album under it. And I also have my own website, bryanjamesduffy.com.
Cool. Bryan, well, thank you so much for giving all of us some insight into your life and your journey with guitar and music. And we wish you the very best. And thanks very much.
You got it. Thanks, Rusty. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Cheers.